On November 26, more known as the Islamabad massacre, Pakistani people took to the streets to protest peacefully. In exchange, they were met with an iron fist. 12 people were killed. Even a dear colleague of mine, Muhammad Idris, who was my worker and friend, was shot in the stomach and died. The government claimed no casualties and claimed that they didn't use any ammunition. Thanks to international media, BBC, Reuters, and The Independent, they unearthed 12 deaths from that protest itself. As others I know will speak about, and the co-chairs have said, the United Nations Working Group on Arbitrary Detention has declared Imran Khan's imprisonment as illegal and demands an immediate release. Imran Khan, as this repression continues, the rigging of elections, the capturing, the courts, military trials, the silencing of media, it all leads back to one man and one thing, the elephant in the room, former Prime Minister of Pakistan, Imran Khan. Since 2022, he has faced relentless prosecution. Over 200 legal cases he's been charged with. From cases like the Iddat case, which is a ridiculous illegal marriage case, to murder charges, to one that him and his wife, Bushra Imran Khan, have been charged for, the Al-Qadr case. The Al-Qadr case was £190 million, which was a personal settlement between a property developer and the NCA, National Crime Agency of the UK, which then got deposited into the Supreme Court of Pakistan. Nothing to do with our government, nothing to do with Imran Khan. The money was deposited directly there, earning interest. That same property developer developed a university in a trust, which Imran Khan and his wife were trustees of. All have agreed that there's been no financial benefit. In fact, 200 plus students have studied for free. This is the first time in a country where a husband and wife have been imprisoned for giving university-level education for free to 200-odd children. Abduction, breaking into homes, trashing of their personal property, abduction of children, torture, using women as a tool to get the politicians and the men out to surrender themselves is the first time we've seen this in Pakistani history. On November 26, what about the voices that are trying to tell these stories? Freedom of speech in Pakistan is dying. Journalists have been arrested, abducted, tortured, or driven in exile. Dr. Moin Pirzada, one sitting right here. Independent shutdowns and social media blackouts are now a standard tactics to bury dissent. YouTube channels criticizing the government or the establishment vanished overnight. TV anchors are blacklisted if they dare to speak even Imran Khan's name, which is forbidden on national television. I appear on international media myself, but I am not allowed to appear on local media. The consequences of this are deadly. From senior anchors like Arshad Sharif, one of Pakistan's most respected journalists who fled the country under threats for his life and continued reporting from abroad, was assassinated in Kenya. There are many cases of exile of our journalists that are abroad. Either they have to take a sabbatical if they don't toe the line, or they have to take exile. Most recently, a magistrate ordered nearly 30 YouTube channels to shut down simply because they expose the truth. Google wants them to take a legal stay in the High Court, which is not possible for those who are in exile. If they go to Pakistan, we know what torture is coming next.
But there were IMET and FMS sales, particularly for F-15s, F-16s, I should say, and they claimed that was a sale rather than, hey, if you're aiding and abetting their Air Force when you have such a dictatorial regime running the place, shame on us if we enable that. So if you want to speak to that, I would hope there would be a complete clampdown on all of this. That has not happened, so we need to push that.
I could stand here today and talk about all the injustices unfolding in Pakistan, but today I want to give you the context, the story behind the headlines, so you can truly get a grasp of what is happening and why. Let me start with the event that shattered whatever remained of a Pakistan democratic facade, the general elections of February 8th, 2024. These were the most brutally rigged elections in Pakistan's history. The rigging started months earlier than the actual election day. They stole the symbol of our very part of the party, which was the cricket bat, so voters couldn't identify us on the ballot. Our candidates were forced to contest as independents, creating chaos and confusion. Nomination papers were rejected, rallies were banned, banners were torn down, flags were forbidden, leaders were jailed, exiled, driven underground. Many of them are here today. Yet the people of Pakistan rose to the challenge. And one of the highest turnouts in our history, the Pakistanis came out and voted for change. Independent data and independent observers have both shown with academic fact that PTI-affiliated candidates
led by Prime Minister Shahbazgill. The general election was supposed to happen in August of 2023, but was held illegally late under the Constitution. I won't speak more about that because Mr. Bukhari covered it. But the U.S., EU, and UK expressed serious concerns about election irregularities and called for an investigation. In addition, press freedom has been totally and completely eviscerated. The Committee to Protect Journalists have condemned blocks on critical websites and the throttling of access to the internet. Broadcasters have been banned from mentioning Khan or the PTI. Beginning April 2022, the media regulator PEMRA issued various directives outlawing Imran Khan from appearing on the air and even past speeches, culminating in an order that branded his speeches all as, quote, hate speech. Over the last week, as was mentioned already, Google was ordered to remove, and did in fact remove, the YouTube channels of 27 government critics, including journalists and Imran Khan and PTI supporters, at the demand of the National Cybercrime Investigation Agency for, quote, sharing highly intimidating, provocative, and derogatory contents against state institutions. In essence, they've just admitted publicly that it is because of their speech. Now the Pakistani regime is going further, and they're demanding that if Google wants to remain in business in Pakistan, that they need to block access to these websites, not just in Pakistan, where they're violating international law by banning what is obviously protected speech, but they want those sites to be banned locally. So, for example, the journalist here in the room today from Pakistan who was forced to flee the country because of persecution, the regime is now trying to stop him from broadcasting from the United States or for people around the world hearing what he has to say. I think it's going to be very important for Congress, in light of the fact that Google is an American company, to send a very clear message to Google that this should not be tolerated and they should not bend or break to the pressure from the Pakistani regime. In this context, the case of former Prime Minister